Welcome back. This is the fourth in a series of 4 videos that are designed to help you learn how to flip your classroom. The focus of this video is all about designing flipped lessons. As with any good lesson, a flipped lesson starts with a good objective. Good teachers use objectives. They want to know what measurable change they're going to want to see in their students after the students have completed a learning task. So first of all, you want to write your objectives. After you have an objective in mind to make a video about, determine if a video is actually the best way for your students to learn this particular objective. If a video is the best way, then by all means use a video. But if direct instruction and lecture is not the best way for your students to learn this particular objective, you might want to do something else. Once you have decided that your learning objective would best be taught through direct instruction via lecture and then through flipping the classroom, then you can go ahead and make your video and design your lesson. As you design your lesson, you need to keep a few things in mind. You want to make sure that your parents are ready. You want to make sure that your students are ready and that they know what's required of them, and you give them enough practice and they know exactly what you want them to do. And you also need to make sure you know what you want to do in the classroom, and that's what the rest of this video is going to focus on. First, you want to make sure that your parents are ready. And depending on how much time you want to put into this whole flipped model, if you want to just flip one lesson or if you want to flip an entire class, you might want to send a parent letter home. If it's just one lesson, that might not be quite as necessary. If it's the entire class, then at the beginning of class, you're going to need to contact the parents because this is something that likely their child has never encountered before. So send a letter home to the parents. In the beginning, you might get a little bit of pushback. Parents are a little bit wary about what's going on. They're not exactly sure what you're doing. They might think you're a little crazy, but in the end, according to Bergman and Sams, parents really like this model and they come around and they really accept this as a good way to teach their students. Second, you want to make sure that your students are prepared. Students need to be taught how to watch these videos. It's not like watching a cartoon or some other movie for fun. It's actually watching something for an academic purpose. You've got to take a different mindset. You've got to approach it a different way. Bergman and Sams compare it to reading a fictional versus non-fictional book, or non-fictional versus fictional rather. You take yourself into a different mindset whenever you encounter something in this way. So you need to tell them, go into your bedroom, eliminate distractions. You're not listening to your iPod. You're not listening to your friends. You're not chatting, whatever. You're just solely focused on this video. And something that really will help is if in the first couple of days that you're trying to implement this type of model is you show the students how to watch the video in class. You watch the video together and you make liberal use of the pause button. Bergman and Sam say that's very important. So you teach students that it's really good to pause every now and then and write things down and to ask questions and to consider different ideas and to rewind if you misunderstand something. Teach your students how they need to watch it, and also along the way teach them effective note-taking skills. That is probably the most important, something that we're going to focus on in a little bit later as far as assessment is concerned. Bergman and Sams use the Cornell note-taking method. If you don't know what that is, then you can find some guides to the Cornell note-taking method online with a quick Google search with even some templates that your students can use. Become familiar with that and have your students take notes during the lesson. And then, whenever they come back, you've got a way to hold them accountable. The way that Bergman and Sams hold their students accountable the most is by requiring each and every student to ask interesting questions. And while they're taking notes, they can write some of these interesting questions down, but there's a couple of caveats as far as these questions are concerned. First of all, they need to be related to the video. Secondly, the student must not know the answer. They can't ask a question that they know the answer to. So none of the really basic knowledge level stuff that you're talking about, the definition of a word that you've told them, may have to think outside the box a little bit. Critical thinking. Another way to hold them accountable is you check their notes. You make sure that they've actually taken notes or that the notes actually even exist and they followed all of the rules or procedures that you've set forth in taking notes. And if they've done all of that, then you know that they have watched a video. That's how you hold them accountable. Inevitably, you're going to have at least one student who just for whatever reason will not watch the video at home. And so what do you do with that student? Well, Bergman and Sam suggest that in their experience, they just let the student watch the video in class, and that student will just miss out in the class tutorial time. So as other students are asking questions, learning is taking place, they're getting help with whatever activity you have planned for the day. The students that don't watch the video at home are going to have to go home and complete that activity on their own without teacher guidance, without the help of their friends, depending on whether it's a group assignment. And so they said that this is a really good way that the students are just going to eventually realize that it's to their benefit to go ahead and watch it at home and to do their work in class as they should, as opposed to trying to watch the videos in class and play video games at home or whatever. So that leaves us with just one question that might be itching in the back of your mind, and that is, well, what am I going to do during class? Probably the most important question to many teachers. Well, Bergman and Sams give several suggestions. First of all, they say that they spend a lot of their time in class with tutorial time. And basically, your students have come back with that question that you told them that is required of them. That's how you hold them accountable. And they ask their questions, and then that leads to a discussion within the class about what they had talked about. Another way is you can insert some kind of a formative assessment in the form of a quiz or some other type of paper type handout. Writing becomes something that is very easy and more meaningful because your students not only write, but you can help them write the entire time, and then they can actually swap their papers and do some peer reviews. They can share it with the class at the end of the period instead of just putting it back into their binder and taking it home with them and no one else ever reading it other than you. The tutorial time can lead to a deeper discussion because you've got so much more class time. I remember a lot of times when I teach, at the very end of the period, you're really getting into some good stuff, and then the bell rings. And if I had spent the first 20 or 30 minutes talking with the students about what is going to be done in these videos, then I would have had plenty of time to really go deep into these issues that we were talking about. If you want to get some more specific ideas as far as your subject matter is concerned, you can go to Blackboard. I've got a PDF of about 2 or 3 pages in their book that I have just copied and put on there, made it available to you so that you can get some ideas of what you can do specifically in your class. Additionally, you might just want to purchase their book. It's a great read. It's really not that expensive. In fact, you might even have it available in your school's library to check out, or you might even be able to get your school to pay for it. So you can always ask those questions. The worst they can say is no. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this video, and I want to give you your assignment for this last video, and that is I want you to create a flipped lesson plan and upload it on Blackboard in a PDF format. I would like for this lesson plan to include your objective for the lesson that you're flipping. Please tell me how you're going to hold your students accountable to watching the video, and then tell me what you are going to do during class, since you're not going to be lecturing during class. As soon as you have finished this last assignment, please email me and let me know, and I will look through what you've done, and I will contact the appropriate person on your behalf to request some continuing education credit for you for going through this. Thanks so much for sticking with it to the end. We look forward to seeing a lot of master classroom flippers in the future.